Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories from around the world. I'm Alison Lagrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin. Our top stories: Syria's new interim leader, Mohammed al-Bashir, has assumed his duties. He said the new regime will guarantee the rights of all people and sects. Bashir also appealed to Syrians abroad to return to their homeland. He also said that the names of the new appointees for the interim government will be announced within days. Meanwhile, Syrian rebel leader Mohammed al-Jilani has vowed to dissolve the security forces of the old regime. Al-Jilani said that he would shut down the prisons operated by President Bashar al-Assad's government. Almost 60,000 people were reportedly tortured and killed in these prisons. The rebel leader has vowed to hunt down those involved in the killing or torture. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has departed for a visit to West Asia. He is scheduled to visit Jordan and Turkey. Blinken's trip aims to facilitate a smooth political transition in Syria. The State Department says the trip will focus on discussing the transition process and the formation of a new government in Syria. Israel continued its strikes in Syria for the fourth consecutive day. Israeli military launched attacks in the coastal regions of Latakia and Tartus in western Syria. Israeli warplanes hit the port in the coastal city of Latakia and warehouses in the neighbouring Tartus. The IDF said it targeted military sites belonging to the Assad regime. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei blamed the US and Israel for the fall of the Assad regime. Khamenei claimed that he has evidence that the fall was orchestrated through a joint plan by the US and Israel and a neighbouring country which he didn't name. However, he added that Bashar al-Assad's ouster will not weaken Iran. Greece has suspended decisions on all applications by Syrians seeking asylum. The country's migration minister said that the authorities were temporarily freezing all procedures. Greece is one of the largest destinations for Syrian refugees fleeing the crisis back home. Other European countries, such as Austria, Britain, and Germany, have taken similar measures. The United Nations General Assembly has overwhelmingly adopted a resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The motion was supported by 158 nations, even as the US, Israel, and 7 other nations opposed it. The UN General Assembly also approved a motion in support of the UN's Agency for Palestinian Refugees. It condemned Israel for proposing a ban on the agency. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz spoke to his US counterpart Lloyd Austin over the ceasefire in Gaza. Katz told Austin that there was a chance for a new deal. He added that Israel hoped for the return of all the hostages, including the US citizens. This is after several unsuccessful attempts. US, Egypt, and Qatar are again trying to mediate a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. An Israeli child died yesterday after an attack on a bus in the West Bank. The Israeli military said a terrorist had opened fire at a civilian bus in the al-Qadr junction. A number of other civilians were also injured in the attack. Israeli strikes killed 5 people in Lebanon yesterday. The strike hit the town of Bint Jebel in the Nabatieh governorate, which killed 3 people, while another Israeli attack in the Beit Lif district killed a person. Additionally, a drone attack killed 1 in the town of Ainata in the northern region. The Pentagon has said that Russia might use its new lethal Orchestrated ballistic missile against Ukraine again in the coming days. The warning was based on an intel assessment. The Pentagon said that the Russian attacks aimed at intimidating Ukraine. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has reportedly invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration on the 20th of January. The invitation was said to have been extended in early November, shortly after the U.S. presidential election. However, it is unclear if Xi has accepted the proposal to attend the ceremony. Taiwan said it detected 16 Chinese warships in waters around the island. The authorities also spotted 34 Chinese aircraft. According to Taiwanese officials, around 90 warships and vessels are involved in China's military exercises. Beijing has intensified its war games around the island following the Taiwanese president's visit to the US. South Korean President Yoon addressed the nations for the first time after briefly implementing the martial law last week. Justifying his decision to impose martial law, Yoon said it was necessary to investigate the Election Commission over alleged North Korean hacking attempts. He denied the allegations of treason and said he has no intention to resign. In Afghanistan, Taliban-led government's refugee minister Khalil ur-Rahman Haqqani was killed in a suicide bombing. The blast reportedly occurred at the refugee ministry's office in Kabul. The terrorist group Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attack. The deceased minister was on the US and the UN sanctions list. He was a specially designated global terrorist and had a $5 million bounty on his head. And in climate news, as fast-moving wildfire in Malibu has scorched 4,000 acres of land and destroyed at least 7 properties, it has forced the evacuation of over 20,000 people, including Hollywood stars. Dubbed the Franklin Fire, the blaze began late on Monday near the Pepperdine University. The U.S. East Coast is grappling with intense winter weather caused by a combination of an atmospheric river and a developing bomb cyclone. The storm is bringing heavy rainfall, fierce winds, and potential flooding. This has prompted authorities to prepare for widespread power outages. India's capital, New Delhi, recorded its coldest morning of the season on the 11th of December. As temperatures dipped to 4.9 degrees Celsius in some areas of the capital. This is according to the India Meteorological Department. A thin layer of fog persists with the morning chill blanketing the city. The Chilean President Gabriel Boric has introduced the country's first hydrogen-fueled bus, marking a milestone in sustainable transportation. Speaking at the launch event, Boric has highlighted the bus's potential to tackle environmental challenges. Initial trials are set to begin in 2025, signaling Chile's commitment to green innovation. And Venezuela's bid to revive its struggling economy through tourism is drawing sharp criticism as it threatens the fragile ecosystems in the country, which includes Caribbean coral reefs that are already at risk from climate change. Environmental groups warn that the infrastructure initiatives could permanently damage the delicate marine and terrestrial habitats. And on to business and tech news now. The U.S. stock market index, NASDAQ, rose by 1.8% to cross the 20,000 mark. This is the first time ever the NASDAQ has reached this level. The hike was driven by a surge in tech stocks. The stock market rallied after the U.S. reported its inflation data for November. And U.S. consumer prices rose by 2.7% in November this year. This marks the highest price rise the country has experienced in the past 7 months. Higher food and housing costs contributed significantly to the inflation last month. However, the surge remained largely within what the market had estimated. American grocery store chain Albertsons has formally terminated its $25 billion merger deal with rival Kroger. Now, this decision came a day after the U.S. court blocked the deal, citing competition concerns. Albertsons has now sued Kroger, accusing the company of willfully breaching the merger contract. The firm is seeking $600 million as merger termination fees. German automaker Volkswagen has offered a 14% wage hike to its workers in the U.S. state of Tennessee. The raise will be distributed over a 4-year period. The automaker and its workers have been engaged in contract talks for several months. Share prices of Google's parent firm Alphabet rose by over 5% to hit a new record high yesterday. Now, this followed US President Donald Trump's announcement of his pick for the Federal Trade Commission. He chose Andrew Ferguson for the role of the FTC chair. Analysts say the antitrust case against Alphabet may conclude under Ferguson's leadership. And the US Justice Department has urged an appeals court to reject TikTok's request. The Chinese social media firm has asked the court to temporarily halt the US law against it. This would be until the Supreme Court could review the case. Without legal intervention, TikTok will become unavailable in the US after the 19th of January unless its owner ByteDance sells it. Australia's government has announced plans to introduce new rules to ensure that local news sites get paid by big tech companies. The rules would require platforms like Facebook, Google, and TikTok to compensate news publishers for the content they provide. This announcement follows Meta's decision to not renew its 2021 content deal in Australia. Meta platforms Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp experienced a brief outage yesterday. Thousands of users in the US, the UK, and parts of Europe were unable to access these platforms. Later, Meta said that it had resolved 99% of the issues. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT has been hit by a global outage today. Thousands of users worldwide are unable to access the platform created by OpenAI. The company said that the outage has also affected its API and video generation platform Sora. It added that it has identified the issue and is working to resolve it. Editing software maker Adobe reported a record $5.6 billion in revenue for the last quarter. The firm's revenue grew by over 11% between July and September this year. However, Adobe's share prices fell after the earnings report was released. Analysts say a lower outlook for future earnings disappointed investors. And moving on to sports, and we start with cricket. India's star batter Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma saw a massive dip in the latest ICC Test rankings. Kohli dropped down 6 places and is ranked 20th. India's captain Sharma, on the other hand, moved out of the top 30 ranked batters. This after the duo had a poor outing in the second Test versus Australia. And Zimbabwe beat Afghanistan by 4 wickets in the first match of the T20 International Series. The host won a last-ball thriller to secure only their second T20I victory over the Afghans. Chasing 145 to win, Zimbabwe's Brian Bennett steadied the ship with his 49 runs. Tashinga Musakiwa's last over heroics gave Zimbabwe a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series. And over in women's cricket, Australia beat India by 83 runs in the final ODI to complete their series whitewash 3-0. Put into bat first, Annabelle Sutherland's 110 took Australia's score to 298 runs. In reply, Ashley Gardner's 5 wickets bowled India out for 215 runs. Moving on to football, English club Manchester City lost to Italian club Juventus 2-0 in the Champions League. Juventus's Dusan Vlahovic had opened the scoring. Weston McKennie had scored the winner in the 75th minute, and following the loss, Manchester City have slipped to 22nd position in the points table. And in another match, Spanish club Barcelona beat German club Borussia Dortmund 3-2. Rafinha scored the opening goal for Barcelona, despite Dortmund striking twice. Ferran Torres' brace made it 5 wins in 6 matches for Barcelona in this season of the tournament. And football's governing body FIFA has announced Saudi Arabia as the host for the 2034 Football World Cup. Saudi was the only bidder for the 2034 edition of the tournament. In a virtual meeting, FIFA also confirmed Morocco, Spain, and Portugal as co-hosts for the 2030 World Cup. And moving to chess, India's chess sensation Di Gukesh and world champion Ding Lishan played out another draw at the World Championship in the 13th round. The duo are level at 6.5 points each. With only one game remaining, the first to reach 7.5 points will be the winner. If the final match ends up in a draw, the winner will be decided in a tiebreaker round. And in tennis news, Wimbledon is going to court in a bid to head off any potential threats to their expansion plans. The Grand Slam organisers were given permission by London authorities for expansion onto neighbouring golf course earlier this year. The decision has proved to be controversial, with opposition from local residents. And moving to American sports, Ohio State Representative Josh Williams has introduced a bill to make flag planting at football games in Ohio Stadium a felony. The decision comes in response to Ohio State-Michigan brawl, which took place last month. During the game, Michigan players planted the flag in the middle of the field, which caused an all-out brawl. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell confirmed that the league's relation with American rapper Jay-Z won't be affected. This despite Jay-Z being alleged of rape. Now, the American rapper has been part of the NFL's entertainment presentations. Jay-Z claims the rape allegations are a part of an extortion attempt. And in entertainment news, rapper Jay-Z and singer Beyonce are reportedly consulting a crisis specialist after he was named in a rape case along with Sean Combs. The person is helping the couple to navigate through the choppy waters. According to reports, Beyonce feels that the best way to handle this situation is to face it head-on. Meanwhile, singers Taylor Swift and Beyonce are among Forbes' 100 most powerful women of 2024. Swift has been placed 23rd on the list with an estimated net worth of $1.6 billion. The publication placed Queen Bee at 35th spot, while Rihanna was placed at number 76. The Weeknd will perform at a special concert for Spotify, which will mark celebrations for him having the most songs to hit 1 billion streams. It will be held exclusively for his top fans on the platform. He will perform on the 17th of December in Los Angeles. And according to reports, rapper Machine Gun Kelly and actor Megan Fox have parted ways. They were on a vacation when the breakup happened. This comes a month after they announced that they are going to become parents. The baby is reportedly due in March next year. Actor Paul Mescal will star in Sam Mendes' Beatles biopic. Director Ridley Scott has confirmed the casting during an event. He said, and I quote, "Paul is actually stacked up doing the Beatles next." The actor might be seen stepping into the shoes of Paul McCartney. And Austin Butler is set to star as Patrick Bateman in Luca Guadagnino's fresh take on American Psycho. This new adaptation promises to explore the iconic novel in a way distinct from the 2000 cult classic film. Guadagnino's project marks a unique return to Ellis' chilling tale of consumerism and violence. And Oscar winner Jared Leto is in final talks to join the star-studded cast of Barry Levinson's Assassination, a noir thriller co-written by David Mamet. The film already boasts heavyweights Al Pacino, Jessica Chastain, Brendan Fraser, and Bryan Cranston. Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco are now engaged. The actor and singer shared the image of her flashy diamond ring on social media. She wrote that her forever begins now. The newly engaged couple confirmed their relationship last year in December. And Disney is bringing its 2010 animated hit Tangled to life with a live-action reimagining in the works. The new adaptation will retell the beloved story of Rapunzel, a princess with magical long hair, and her daring escape from a secluded tower with the help of charming outlaw Flynn Rider. And Kim Kardashian is reportedly diving back into the dating pool. The latest reports follow her brief romance with NFL star Odell Beckham Jr. However, she is keeping the details tightly under wraps. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay Stay tuned to Firstpost.